Let's talk a little bit about a lot of people emailing me saying, David, please address the hate crime charge possibilities that we might see from the government. I don't think we're going to see that. It's a very high bar to set. Let's take a step back. Colloquially speaking, right? If it's just me and you, Lewis, and we're talking to the audience, we know that the race of Trayvon Martin was one of the factors that initially increased George Zimmerman's interest in engaging with Trayvon Martin. We know that. However, for Eric Holder and the Department of Justice to have federal hate crime charges brought against George Zimmerman, you really need to feel that you can prove not what I said, not that race was a factor in getting George Zimmerman to even suspect Trayvon Martin of being suspicious in the neighborhood. You actually need to show that the killing was specifically driven by racism on George Zimmerman's behalf. That is very, very difficult. We have conflicting sets of facts, of evidence, much of which is muddled, much of which was almost worthless to anybody, which I guess ends up helping the defense during the case. I don't think people should be holding their breath for hate crime charges coming from Eric Holder anytime soon.
No, this is one of the hardest things to prove in court in general. And as if the murder wasn't hard enough to prove, we saw how that went. It's going to be nearly impossible to get him guilty, of a hate crime. It is very, very difficult.
No question. And then the other possibility, like I think you alluded to, Lewis, would be civil charges. And as we know, the requirements for responsibility in a civil charge are drastically different than those in a criminal charge. I have less opinion on that. In other words, I see the hate crime charges as very unlikely. I am unsure about the possibility of the success of civil charges. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see a civil suit. I just don't know how far that's really going to go. But I have no real comment on it. I don't know if you do, Lewis.
Well, I mean, I would say that in the end, a civil case would probably go the same route as the one we just saw. But
remember what happened with O.J. Simpson, right? I mean, very different results there with the civil case and the criminal case.
That's true. But if anything, if the parents of Trayvon Martin want to just tie up Zimmerman's life for X number of months or just make his life more difficult,
right,
this is something they can do if they feel the need.